Texas County, Arkansas Board of Directors to order. A couple of housekeeping things. One, if you wish to address the board tonight, there's a citizens communication card on the ledge. We would appreciate you filling that out so that we would have a record of your speaking tonight. Second, if you have your cell phones, if you'd please silence your cell phones during the meeting, we would appreciate it. At this time, we'll have a roll call.
Director Jewell,
Here.
Director Hart,
Here.
Assistant Mayor Roberts,
Here.
Director Harris,
Here.
Director Hollabush,
Here.
Director Brewer is absent, Mayor Brown.
Here. At this time, we'll stand for the invocation. I will be doing the invocation tonight. Our Pledge of Allegiance tonight will be led by David Carlton, which is Troop 86 Senior Patrol Leader. Let us pray. Gracious God, thank you for this day and all the blessings that you've given us, and be with us as we conduct the city's business tonight. And thank you for everyone here that's present, and be with us as we leave this place. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
My name is David Carlton. I'm Troop 86 Senior Patrol Leader, and I will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. At this time, we'll move right on into our citizens communication time. I'll take these in order in which they were presented to me. We have 3 people so far that wishes to address the board tonight. I believe it's Juanita Ardwin.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I go up there?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I am Juanita Ardwin, and I am a property owner on the house on Savannah Circle here in Texarkana, Arkansas, and I pay my taxes. Because of the backyard drainage into the road, with nowhere for that water to go, it creates road problems such as uneven surfaces, potholes, sunken areas. Residents cannot mow or garden in the yards, for it's a swampy mess. Owners have or need to have some sort of French drain or ditch in order to drain the accumulated water in the yard, and the majority of the water drainage comes directly from Christie Circle, which is directly behind Savannah. All goes downhill. Children play in the deep puddles, and I know they love to have fun. And even though you tell them, no, don't you go in that puddle, of course they will. But it's at the end of the cul-de-sac, and that's where the water is especially deep, and it's standing all the time. There's no place for it to drain. It poses a safety hazard. And standing water, of course, is also a breeding ground for snakes as well as mosquitoes. And one of these pictures has a great big 6-foot snake, which my renter, I'm a property owner. I don't live there, but they're entitled to a good life without fear of snakes, West Nile virus, or whatever. And besides that, this greeny, slimy substance grows because of the standing water. It goes on the pavements and the roads. And I've actually talked to some of the people out there and said, oh yeah, a couple months ago I was trying to get my mail and I slipped and somebody else fell. Thank God didn't break any bones, but it's a safety hazard too. And in conclusion, I've been texting back and forth to you, Ulysses Brewer.
Yes.
Hi, it's good to meet you.
Likewise.
And the Public Works won't do anything about it, but the road flooding, it creates problems. Can you please help the subdivision? We should not be penalized 8 months out of the year with backyard and sometimes house flooding, as well as dangerous road conditions, or put children in harm's way. These problems are a direct result of poor subdivision planning. So even if you can't help the flooded backyards, can you at least fix the drainage problems in the street? Because that water has nowhere to go. It just stands there. And even in the very front of Savannah Circle, where it seems like it's going uphill, there looks like there's a little drainage problem. Well, I was told last Saturday, when I was making the rounds to all the people who live there, that their house on the corner of 42nd Savannah, they moved out because the house itself got flooded. I, like many people own this property, was not warned about the horrible drainage problems. It's like me and the nice lady over there, Lynn, who I've met through doing yard work and what have you. She was not warned about that. But someone has to be held accountable. And if the city can't help us, who can? The road at least needs to have a drainage issue fixed. For the problems it creates is a hazard and not just an inconvenience. Thank you for hearing me.
My name is Delbert Henry, and I actually live on Savannah Circle, and I've been there for about a couple of years myself, and it's my sister-in-law too, and we've actually had some issues with that ourselves. Sometimes they'll leak other yards.
Sir, if you don't mind, we take them in order. If you'll fill out a citizen's communication card, I will give you the opportunity to
Yes,
respond.
sir, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I apologize. Thank you.
Christina Tutt, Animal Control.
Good evening, Mayor, members. I want to thank you first off for the response that the last time the rescue community came to you with some serious issues with animal control. The response we received was really great and supportive. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank Mr. Roberts for taking on a problematic issue this weekend in his off time that was quite dangerous. I'm sad to be here again and have to bring these things to you, but it looks like once again your animal control task force group and the shelter employees are failing miserably at their jobs. I get phone calls, probably 2 or 3 dozen a month, just from residents of the Arkansas side with animal-related problems. My first answer is always to please address that to animal control. 9 times out of 10, I'm told we already have several times and nothing happens. So I just wanted to let you know what some of the big issues that are going on are. Over the weekend, on Saturday morning, on Lindbergh Street, there was a pack of dogs. They were pit bull mixed dogs that were running the street as per usual, I'm told. I talked to and interviewed several residents of that area. This has been an ongoing problem for months and months. These dogs chase children up and down the street. They come out of their yard and are actually in the road with the children, with people walking by. They're very aggressive. They have gone into other yards and killed animals and pets. Saturday morning, they killed a cat that was in its own yard. And I want to read you some of the text messages I've got from folks. The lady who witnessed the cat attack on Saturday sent this to a neighbor. "Where's your dog been? I haven't seen her since we got back. Some pit bulls killed her right in front of animal control. The dog catcher was trying to get them, and they came on my front porch and attacked and killed her." When the young lady whose dog was attacked on her front porch in front of animal control asked why weren't these dogs seized, they were told by your animal control staff that they were too aggressive and animal control couldn't deal with them. Now I'm curious, if you have aggressive animals in your city, who's going to deal with them? It seems to me like that should be animal control. I had a 10-year-old little boy on Lindbergh Street tell me on Saturday that he used to love to go outside and play with his friends or walk down the street to get his friend to watch movies and videos, but he can't do that anymore because of the dogs on the street that will attack him. Thankfully, that one problem appears to be solved, at least at this point, thanks to Mr. Roberts, who reached out first thing this morning to Animal Control. Your Animal Control Department went over and seized 9 dogs from that home. I believe your limit per resident is 4. Is it 4 on this side or 5? It's 5, okay. It shouldn't take, I don't mind doing it. I love doing it. I love helping people and helping animals. It shouldn't take me having to call an assistant mayor of a city on a weekend to solve this problem for these residents. The other problem we're having are animals chained, inhumanely chained. Your ordinances are very clear. I'm not going to go over them. You can read them yourselves. The last time I sent Lenore Teague an email about a certain set of animals was December. I've yet to receive a response for her. Those animals are still chained. We want to work with you. We can help you, but y'all got to start somewhere. You got to get better. Thank you.
Mr. Hollis?
Yes, thank you, directors. I was last in here for the first time back in September. And the issue that I raised was basically the Nix Creek bicycle and walking track. I have no objections to the bicycle and walking track at all, none. That's not my complaint. And I went and did some research, and I noticed that it was a 6-phase project over several years for that to be done. And it boggles my imagination. Why would they put a parking lot that's roughly, I'm going to give a few feet, roughly 30 feet behind my home. My home where I've been living for almost 30 years now. It's not the time limit. I noticed last few weeks or so, they took out the 12 or 12 sign they had. Now they put up 2 new signs. I wonder if that's part of the director's direction for them to just put up parking times. Time is not the issue. The problem is trucks, diesel trucks, cars starting up. This noise problem. Any vibrations, the people pulling in there with bases and sitting there eating a lunch with bases. As I mentioned last time I was there, I used to call consistently, and I stopped it, and I wasn't getting any response. Just here, I was in here in September. October, there was a box truck pulled in their park. It went back and forth until it got parallel to the parking area there. And finally, I heard the doors opening in the back and everything like that. I called the police department 3 times with distance in between each one of the calls. No response. And finally, when it got really dark, the truck pulled out. I took pictures starting around 6-something of the truck just sitting there. And when I took the last picture, it was pulling out to Arkansas Boulevard. I don't believe anyone sitting here will want to be subjected to a parking lot right behind their home, because all you're hearing is car doors opening. You're hearing diesel trucks pulling in there, hearing people's coming in, summer's coming again. I've been through this many years now. Eating lunch, playing the radios while they eat lunch. Some people are pretty understanding when you get their attention, say, would you mind? And then, as I said earlier, I've been called a lot of different names with that problem. And I don't understand why, with the area that the parking, that the trail is there, why behind a residential home would the city authorize a parking lot behind a personal residence? It boggles my imagination, because people aren't as understanding nowadays. They aren't going to pull in there and just be quiet. No, that doesn't happen. And I don't think anyone here would want that directly behind their home. Like I said, I'm not opposed to the walking trail. I think it's nice. I walked it myself. I'm not opposed to that. My problem is that the city authorized a parking lot to be directly behind my home. My neighbor has that problem also, but she wasn't able to be here tonight. She lives adjacent to me, and she's not able to be here. But she has a problem also. Even though I'm getting impact, she can hear it in her home. So it's a problem. It's an ongoing problem, and summer's getting here, and it's going to get worse. And as I said in my first meeting, my best time of the year is in the winter when it's snowing, when it's too cold, because then they don't show up. But when summer get here, I know I'm going to be subjected to the boom boxes, loud noise, rumbling of diesel trucks, saying that motorcycles even pull in there. Motorcycles revving their motors up and then taking off, But I would like some consideration. The signs that they put up with the times is not the problem. Time, they had it from 6 to 11, I believe 11 o'clock now. I don't think it's 11:30, 11 o'clock. But just a week or so ago, a car pulled in there at 11 o'clock. Who's going to walk down that dark trail at night? There's been a lot of unsolicited activities in that parking lot. So it's really a nuisance. It's a nuisance. And I don't feel comfortable calling the police every time I have a problem. It shouldn't be my problem. It should have stopped long ago. But that's my issue. And I thank you for listening to me. I'd like some consideration on the issue and not just put a sign up with new times. Time is not the issue. The problem is the parking area behind the home. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Lynn Lawson.
Hi, I live on Savannah Circle, and my backyard is a lot of the problem as to why the flooding is in the cul-de-sac. What's the name of the street behind us? The street behind us, Christie? Christie is here, Savannah's here. All the water seems to go through my backyard, the yard next door, her backyard, and right now my backyard is, once again, it's flooded. I don't have a choice. When we bought this house, we bought it for the backyard. My husband is disabled, and gardening is the one pleasure he has in life. 8 months out of the year, we can't touch our backyard. His smoker is underwater, our swing is underwater, the fire pit's underwater, everything. It comes all the way up to the 6-foot cement patio out of our back door, out of our bedroom door. We can't sit out there because the mosquitoes are so bad. He sent me pictures last night or the night before at work. We now have a raccoon coming into our yard. We've got crawdads all over the place. If a snake shows up, I'm gone. I have no choice. When we bought the property, we didn't know about the flooding, so we don't have the money to put in 15 French drains, because one French drain is not going to take care of the problem. The people that lived there prior to us, or the people prior to them, I don't know. They built a trench on the north side of the house. They made the front look real pretty. We had to have a trench built on the south side right next to our carport to help with the drainage. The water drains. It's been draining. If it rains, it pours into the street. And my south side meets up to her French drain, so we've got double water on the south side of the property. Like she said, it's slimy, it's wet. I can't walk to my mailbox without going onto the grass. I can't step onto the street because of the water. My front yard is soft, very, very soft. I did manage to get it mowed yesterday. The weeds are only this high. Backyard is a disaster. My dogs can't go outside in the backyard. Another reason we bought it, room for them to run. They're small dogs, they have to go out front. If the yard is muddy, my front steps, my front sidewalk is where they do their duty, because they have no other place to go. I don't know what the solution is for this drainage problem, but I'm on the cul-de-sac, lots and lots of standing water. It drains across the street, goes down to the drain just before the last house, and it appears that from the drain it goes into the ditch, and then down the ditch to the bigger ditch. I don't know what the solution is, but this standing water and kids playing in it, we have 2 children in the neighborhood that are consistently playing in it. If they have company, we get more kids playing in it. It's not safe. I mean, that water is dirty. It's putting slime on my driveway and onto the road. That's not safe for those kids to be playing in, and they play in it every day. So that's what I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. We'll address that issue.
Sherry Hurley. Okay. Yes, ma'am, we'll pass it around.
That's last year's.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, board. I don't know the area that they're speaking of, but I'm speaking on College Hill. I'm actually a resident of 1709 Pearl. I pay my taxes. It is one of the oldest areas, and it's one of the worstest areas. It's not a lot of people that's from our area that comes down, I know, and speak. A lot of them don't understand. Have a lot of people that don't read and write good, elders. But the same issue that these ladies here are having in their area, I'm having. Flooding, roads issues. Just the other day, I thought maybe I tore up my car. It was raining, and I understand that when the rain comes, it pours and it takes all these patches that we patch the road with. But I'm looking to see what solution that the city can come up with somehow to help prevent some of the flooding. What I see, overgrown weeds that's in a lot of the ditches that create the backup where there's no one coming and cleaning them out. They spray them, kill the weeds, but it's lots of trash beneath the weeds. So it creates a lot of flooding, and the patchwork is a waste of money. I don't know if any of y'all sit behind a desk, ride through my area, but it's a disaster. When I go to Sugar Hill, I don't hit no potholes. I don't hit none. I don't see no toe-down houses. I don't see no burn-up houses. But in my area, I look at all that. And I understand that it takes a lot for me than just me to come speak. But I'm looking for some solutions. I can go back and tell some people in my area to come down here and speak, because we need some help. Mr. Harris, I'm glad that he comes out and I watch him take pictures. I watch him walk down the highways. I watch him befriend a lot of people. But it's a lot of work that he has to do, and I understand that. But it's horrible over there. It's horrible. We have a lot of soliciting that go on. People fear going to the stores because we have the police officers. They run off the riffraff, but what happens? People are scared to go to our stores in our area sometimes because you have to be harassed for money. And you know, it's horrible. We have people that put the garbage out and just throw it out on the streets. We have nobody to pick it up and clean it up. And it causes the drainage issues, you know. I don't know what we can do. There's a lot of people that stay and not able to buy a trash can. Maybe, you know, the city could come up with a solution for that, to provide some of the residents with trash cans. And they can put the trash in it instead of putting it in a trash bag, and put it on the curb for a dog to tear up. And it's all over the neighborhood in our ditches. And get some help with mowing some of the alleys over there because they're overgrown. You know, we can't see down them. We have sewage drainage that's in those areas. I walked them myself. Then they're overgrown, and some of the debris is all over the sewage drain holes that's in the area and behind our residents. Some of the plumbing is tied in together, hadn't been upgraded. And if we get a backup, we paying $700 or $800 to get our stuff unclogged because we have so much flooding that our washing machines and our toilets can't get flushed because it has nowhere to flow at all. Because we don't have no way for nobody to, if we don't pay the water company to put a clean out in the front of our house, which they deny us to, they won't come on our property to clean it out because it's our job, they say. But it wasn't my job when I bought the house, and I was told everything was good over here, but it's not. And when we have those flooding issues, there's a lot of us over there go without, with stuff backing up in our tubs and our sinks. And it's really horrible. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know. And I know that money is tight with everyone, and I know it's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. But I just want to be a part of the solution and trying to help my area on College Hill. And if we can work together to find that, I'm for it. I know everybody here, it's not just a one-man thing here. I'm just trying to be a part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Henry?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, directors. Like I said, I'm sorry about a while ago. I'm not used to boards, but since I've lived here in Texarkana, which I've considered my home as well, I'm originally from Mississippi, and I actually transferred to work for the state of Arkansas, so I'm familiar with how asphalts and stuff are laid down, how I've worked in the engineering side as well, RE Office 34, Miller County. So pretty much I understand that it takes tax dollars and how much y'all invest. It depends on how much goes to different areas, and I get all that as well. But recently, like I said, for the past couple of years, I've lived on Savannah Circle myself, and I noticed a lot of flooding in that area as well. A lot of the backyards hold a lot of water, and then a lot of that water transfers into the road out in that little cul-de-sac itself, and causes a lot of problems and hazards, as some of these ladies have said before. And I've actually had one instance where we've had cars go out of alignment. We've had to take them down to the car, mechanics to repair and replace, which costs money for us as well. And, I understand also that it takes people involved to making a difference and stuff. And that's why we realize we come to y'all, because y'all are the ones that help us make the difference in our communities, in our city, in our towns, and everywhere else involved. And I know that a lot of these issues, like he's talking about little kids playing on the streets, we got a couple little kids that run out there sometimes a little bit more. And they actually get out there and you don't know what comes in that drainage. Rather it's oil or some kind of contamination. Someone could come out with their dogs in the yards and getting out there and licking up that water. I know most of y'all probably own animals and small little dogs as well. And you wouldn't want that, because you consider them as family as well, I'm sure. They ain't just dogs to us. Most of them look at them as kids and children and as family members. And although that's a lot of issue for people, I consider this, since I've been here, like I said, I consider this my home as well. I pay taxes here, and I try to make sure that my neighbors and the people around me, I don't try to cause no problem for anyone. But when it comes to our home and our livelihood, I know that says a lot about us and who we are as citizens, or as board of directors, or as mayors of our town, how important it is and how much they look up to our leadership. I didn't understand about leadership until I started working with the state and realizing how important that was. That I couldn't consider just myself, but I had to address every issue around me, from contractors to the people, because I realized I'm a public servant myself. That it's just not just about myself, but it's about everyone. We all have people, we come down and tell us, well, Delbert, this needs changing, or Delbert, that needs, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that? And I know it's an everyday struggle, especially being around your home. You don't like to see your cars, your vehicles, your houses, your homes, something you've worked hard to get in your life, reduced to nothing, or coming out of your pocket. And I feel in some sense that's what it's causing in our area, especially in our little area, because, it's just, I'm a dad myself, and I'm speaking like a dad. Because I got children myself, and I'm afraid sometimes to let them get out there, because I don't know what's in that water. I don't know what they could bring in, some kind of virus, diseases. There's a lot of that now going on today in life. And I know that's the last thing you want to see is your kids harmed, especially being good parents and good grandparents. I got 3 of them back in Mississippi. I don't look it, but I got 3 of those, and I just try to look out for everyone, including myself. And I just want to know that that issue as well will be addressed and won't just be looked on or frowned on or kicked to the side. Because like I said, we're all citizens, and we just do the best we can. So I just wanted to come on and speak on behalf of my area because it means so much to me now. And with that, I want to thank you again for y'all's time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hewitt. Citizens and neighbors of Savannah Circle, this time last year, we had the same issues of their Ruston Circle, and I look forward to working with you to help get some solutions in Savannah Circle, just like we did in Ruston Circle.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board? Mr. Director Harris.
If you start. I have a presentation, but first all I'm gonna say is to, you wanna know why is a board member delegated to a presentation during citizen communication time. And first, I don't see Ms. Hurley, but I would like to thank her for showing up. She said she followed me on Facebook, so she know I will be doing here about streets, pothole, drainage, road buckling up and everything, so thank her. But I don't see her here more, but thank you for showing up. And back in 2017, yeah, none of the board members here that's present here, I know this is gonna take up part of my time. But back then, they passed a ordinance where they changed the rule procedure that no board member could do a presentation. He was delegated to citizen communication time. Only person who can do a presentation is a employee or a member of a standing board committee or city board commissioner. So, and that's when the issue, when Reddick came up here, Mayor, that's the reason why, when he came out, that's when I had to object to that. That was based on the presentation of the rule procedure that's in place now. So that's why I'm doing this presentation here. Now, I go and get to work. Now, back in April 2017, and you go, I don't know if you got the time on me or what, but back in April 27, 2023, I had drove around Ward 2. There was a lot of potholes that has not been filled. The street still in badly repair on Pearl Street. Since last year, the road crew came there and marked the area, never came back and repaired the street. And also on Cleveland Street from Stephanie to Orleans, the street is buckling up. The base had dropped. And on Prince Street near Bremen intersection, it's also buckling up. Also on Baden Street, the street is buckling up. And between Darden and Wilson Street, I took picture. On Kyle Street and East Silver Street, it's also buckling up. Also on Grove Street and Pinehurst, they filled one pothole one time, then they left three right above them. Now, I made a pothole request, and those are the list of the area. I didn't list all, there's Hickory Street, Sunflower Addition, Carmichael Hill, College Hill, Sandflat area. Now, these are the next one areas not being done. From Fulton Street, instead of me taking a picture of every pothole, I'm just gonna name the area. From Fulton Street between Ferguson Street and Fairview Street. From Jackson Street, it's between Garfield and Spencer Street. Spring Street between Fairview Street to Jackson Street. On Edward Street between Martha Street and Mary Street. On Mitchell Street between Fairview Street and Prince Street. On Hayes Street between Prince Street and Fairview Street, and also at the intersection of Spencer and Graham. Then also on Lion Ferry Road between Alder Street and Euclid Street, and East Street between the block of 2011 and 2005. On Logan Street between Prospect Street. On Dome Street between Logan Street and Baton Street. On Wilson Street between Logan Street and Baton Street. On Baton Street between State Line and Robert Street. On Hayes Street between Victor and Carousel Street. And Vernon Street between Pearl Street and Division Street. Sandflat area, which I guess after tonight, this probably the last time I talked about Sandflat area, because I know that if we change the area, then I will no longer be representing that area, but I still gonna go ahead and put that in place. It's on Laura and 10th Street, and also on Laura and 9th Street, the 700 block on Laura Street, and on 13th Street between Ash Street and Beach Street. Okay, now, this is, go ahead, this Dudley Street and Jones Street, go ahead. And they just showing you that's condition of the street now. Now, if you notice that, I don't know if you can recognize seeing how the street is done and how that, but see, the Public Works, they passing down Dudley Street every day. So, and I can't understand how they missing that there, and that's been like that for the longest. And I just took those pictures yesterday, so, go ahead, next one. That's another Dudley and Jones Street. Go ahead. Now, this here is Euclid and Community Street. And you can see there how the street is buckling up there on the side there, on Community Street. Go ahead. And now, this right here is, the area, that's just the curb area. Now, if you notice how the grass area on the curb area, because that's from years of neglect there. Okay, so I know I wasn't gonna be able to get finished this tonight, but if it, and my procedure, I think it got about 28, maybe 30 or 40 slides in there. So if I had to keep doing this for each communication time, which I'm planning to, till I finish this process here. So, and my time is up, but I am gonna finish this process. But I think something need to be done with that procedure, rule of procedure, because I shouldn't, as a board member, be delegated to seal the communication time. Then you're gonna have a presentation by the Public Works Director tonight, and he can take all the time he wants.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board tonight? Chief Fletcher?
Good evening, Mayor, Directors. This is purely informational. Next board meeting, Mrs. Katie Hardy with the Southwest Arkansas Planning and Development District. She'll be doing an update on the Miller County Hazard Mitigation Plan. Pretty big plan. Also wanted to make you aware that my understanding they were going to be sending the board members a survey in, was that in the mail?
I had it printed out on there.
This is it. We already have.
Okay, you've already got them, but we were contacted not too long ago. They want to do this presentation, and I assume it'll be just to bring y'all up to date on the hazard mitigation plannings and answer any questions that you have. And she will be here at the next board meeting, and we'll get it took care of.
So what do we do with these? Fill them out and bring them back, or get them to you, or do we know?
I'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah, find out. It's
Okay.
just kind of a recent development. All right. Any questions?
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else wish to address the board? If not, we have a couple of proclamations tonight that I'll be presenting. The first will be a proclamation presented to Chief Michael Cram for Police Appreciation Week. I'll read that, and then Chief Cram can come forward. National Public Works, is that the right one? No, sorry. I have too many P's on there. National Police Week. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department play an essential role in protecting and safeguarding the rights and freedoms of our community, and whereas it is important that all residents and visitors know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices made by the members of the Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department. And whereas the city gratefully thanks the men and women of the Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department who continue to choose to serve and protect our residents, businesses, and visitors, now therefore be it resolved that I, Alan Brown, Mayor of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, do hereby recognize the week of May 14th through May 20th, 2023 as National Police Week in the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, and extend our appreciation and support to the members of Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department for your vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication and service to the community. It's signed by myself and by our city clerk, Heather Sawyers, and I'll present that to our chief of police at this time. Chief Brown, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next, we have a proclamation to be presented to Public Works Director Tyler Richards for Public Works Appreciation Week. So National Public Works Week, May 21st through May 27, 2023. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets and highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection, and whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community depends greatly on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality of effectiveness of these facilities as well as their planning, design, and construction is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works employees, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff the public works department is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of this importance from the work they perform. Now be it resolved that I, Alan Brown, Mayor of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, do hereby recognize the week of May 21st through May 27, 2023 as National Public Works Week in the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, and urge our citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public work employees make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. It's signed by myself and our City Clerk, Heather Sawyers, and I'll present that to our Public Works Director, Tyler Richards. Now, moving right along, we have a presentation which tonight will be given by our Public Works Director, Tyler Richards.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can, but y'all feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions. So I was going to give you a general overview of Public Works, an update, I'm sorry. Really in two sections. I'll talk to you about our maintenance side and then about our capital outlay projects in particular. I'll tell you about planning, code enforcement, streets, and environmental. So, wait a minute, let me turn this on, sorry. So within our planning division, I don't know if y'all are aware or not, but we are losing our city planner, Mary Beck. She's going to retire July 22nd. I just wanted to let you all know, so if y'all see her, congratulate her and express your thanks. I know I'm certainly thankful for her. She's one of the most kind-hearted and hard-working employees I've had the joy of working with, and her vast amount of knowledge about the city and its history is irreplaceable. So we're going to greatly miss her, but as you all know, we're working on our comprehensive plan right now. We had a workshop just before this. And for those of you who weren't able to attend, we discussed some implementation and prioritization that's going to be in that final plan. If you're interested, I'm sure I can get you that presentation that Juliet did. Just let me know. But that final plan is set to go to the Planning Commission in June and then to you all on July 3rd for final adoption. Okay, so in code enforcement, we condemned 29 structures back in February of this year. We have sent 21 of those structures out for bid to 3 different contractors. The rest of those 8 that you don't see on there, they've either been, the property owners have either pulled a permit for demolition or repair on that. But the vast majority of those are going to go to us for demolition. We hope to start those in June or July. But the way I do those, I send all 21 of those structures out to 3 different contractors for bids. I don't award them as a whole. I award them each separately. So those won't come before y'all for a contract because it'll be under $30,000. But the reason I do that is we get a better cost, a better price that way. And if we split those structures up, it's the quickest route to getting those down as well. So in general, we average about 3 code violation complaints a day. We're usually able to address those within 24 hours, send a letter out to the property owner for whatever that complaint may be, give them so much time to get that accomplished. And here within this last year, we've been more successful about getting those complaints remedied, whether that be through the court system or just through us working with that property owner. But we're getting into growing season, so we're going to start to see a whole lot of overgrowth complaints coming in. And once we hit that growing season, code enforcement gets a whole lot busier. Pretty much all day, every day, they're out looking at overgrowth complaints and sending out notices. So for streets, we average about 13 complaints per day. Most of those are potholes. We average about 10 pothole complaints per day. This year it's been worse than years past, and I chalk that up to our freezing temperatures back in January and February and the large amount of rain that we had before that and after that. We're seeing worse road conditions this year than we have since 2018, since I started. We're really struggling with that. I think you all can see it, but we are struggling to keep up with all those pothole requests. And we may average 3 or 4 of those complaints a day. Actually taking care of those potholes. So we get 10 a day, average completing 3 or 4 of those. And that's if we're able to get asphalt. I think a lot of you know we're at the mercy of RK Hall, the asphalt plant. They're the only place around here that we can get asphalt. So if they're not making it, we can't get asphalt.
They weren't making any last week or something, weren't they shut down or something?
Right, yeah, they shut down for 10 days for maintenance. So we weren't able to get any asphalt last week. I had my asphalt crew out here installing speed bumps, so we didn't get anything as far as potholes accomplished last week. Pothole complaint fulfillment process. So right now we're going basically going from ward to ward filling potholes. We'll compile all the complaints that we have in our system for a particular ward, and we spend about 2 weeks in each ward, and then we move on to the next one. So if we get a complaint the week after we were, just not picking on you, just say Ward 4. If we get a complaint the week after we've been in Ward 4, it's probably going to be about 10 weeks before we get back there. Now, if we have an emergency, obviously that changes. We'll pull the crew and get around to that emergency. But overall, it's a 12-week process. So we try to be as efficient as possible. So if we get a single pothole request on, say, Arkansas Boulevard, we won't just go fill that one pothole. We'll go up that entire area up Arkansas Boulevard and fill everything that we can right there. Now, like I said, if we have an emergency pothole, we pull away and go take care of that one. But I get complaints sometimes that, well, y'all came out and filled this pothole, but there's 10 more potholes on the same road that y'all didn't hit. A lot of times that's because we had to pull from our normal routine to go take care of that one emergency. But it's extremely difficult. You have to draw a line somewhere, because if we pull from our normal routine, which we're trying to be as efficient as possible, if we pull from that normal routine to go fill an emergency pothole, we could get stuck there all day long if we go about that whole area and fill all of them. So we try to stay in our schedule as closely as possible. Sometimes it's not possible, but a lot of times that is what happened when we fill a single pothole and not some others. But we have to draw a line somewhere, or else we could go on forever and never get back to our normal routine. I already told y'all, we're working ward to ward, spending about 2 weeks in each ward before moving on to the next one.
Mr. Richards,
Yes, sir.
could you give us a list of the, when you're going to move into the wards, the wards, so I can prepare my list well in advance, or so?
I can, absolutely. Now, you have to remember that I try really hard not to give out dates because it changes so often depending on weather, availability of asphalt. I'll get you a schedule, but just keep in mind that that is subject to change, and more than likely it will change. We try to spend 2 weeks in each ward, but if we get pulled away from for a day here or there, we may have to extend that, or weather shuts us down, we have to extend it. So I'm happy to do that. Just keep in mind that that's going to be a best guess.
I understand.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of time I've seen the potholes filled, and a few weeks later it's gone. This is just regular asphalt. There's no kind of additive added to it to make it adhere better to. Is there anything that can be done to make it last longer?
We spray tack, a tack oil to get it to adhere. But unfortunately, and it all depends on what the reason for that failure is. If it's a base failure, it's certainly not going to stay for very long until we repair that base. But every pothole is different.
Sure.
When I first came on in 2018, we were virtually rolling along with asphalt in the back of a dump truck, shovel it out, throw it in the hole, pack it down, and leave. Well, that's not a proper way to fix a pothole. Y'all got us a pothole patch trailer, which makes us much more efficient, helps us to properly fill those holes. Because the complaint I was getting from my guys is, well, we don't have all the tools that we need to properly do this. Well, they've got everything that they possibly need on that patch trailer now, so there's no excuse for not properly filling a pothole. They get out there, they blow it out, clean it out. They cut clean margins on the edges of those potholes, because if you don't have a good clean margin, you're not going to adhere that asphalt very well. If you've got a bunch of jagged edges or anything, that's just going to break apart, and like you said, asphalt's going to come right back out. So I've tried to drill into my guys' head this proper way, and we've got they've got an exact procedure for filling these potholes. So, clean margins, blow the hole out, tack it, fill it, torch the edges, pack it down. So it takes much longer to do it properly, but we get better results afterwards. Now, there are holes that just don't patch well, and they don't stay for real long. So a good rain comes through. If that hole is in a bad spot, bad drainage spot, it's going to wash out. So we do the best we can to making those permanent fixes, but bottom line is pothole patching is a temporary fix. That's all it is. It's going to develop again. There's not a whole lot we can do about that except rehab the entire road.
Understand.
To answer your question. So I'm estimating we've got somewhere around 3,000 potholes right now.
In my ward.
Back in 2021, when we had our street study done, we had 2,000 at that time. And that 3,000, that's just a best guess number. There's no way of truly knowing besides actually surveying our entire 555 miles of road.
Tyler?
Yes.
Is there any way we can pre-order from RK Hall so they would have the asphalt? Or if you're going from one ward to another, okay, on this date, we need this amount of tonnage, or is there any way to do that with them?
Yeah, there certainly is, but we don't use enough asphalt in order to do that. They're not going to make asphalt just for us, because we may only purchase 4, 5, 6 tons in a day. they're making hundreds and hundreds of tons a day. So we're bound to whatever they're making at that time. If nobody else is running a job, we're the only ones that are buying asphalt, they're not going to make for just us. So yes, a lot of times you do pre-order, but we only get 4, 5, 6 tons a day. So they won't do that for just 4, 5, 6 tons.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So I had a couple of directors ask me about bringing in a contractor to help with these potholes and what that would look like. So I have spoken to a contractor that they specialize in this. They're called Velocity Roads. They come in and they're able to patch about 100 holes a day, and that's an average size pothole, and I think they say their average size is 3 foot by 3 foot. So all these numbers are based on that average pothole. Costs about $6,000 a day. They provide a 1-year warranty with that hole, with that patch. If that patch comes out within a year, they come back and redo that. Base repair is not included with that patching job, and a lot of our potholes are a base issue, so those wouldn't be included. So with our 3,000 potholes that we have right now, if we were to bring somebody in, you're looking at about a 6-week process, pending weather and any other holdups, and that comes out to about $180,000.
Say again, how much?
180,000. So that would be that would virtually be 30 working days. So 6 weeks roundabouts. And you're not going to get a straight 6 weeks filling potholes every day.
So Tyler, are they buying the same material from where you're getting it from?
No, not necessarily. They have their own process and their own material that they backfill with, and it's a special asphalt fill, and they've sent me a video of their process. If you want, I can certainly send that to all of you so you can see what their process is.
And could you do some kind of cost analysis on how much it would cost your department or how much we would be saving and by not having your people to do it? So we can compare that, deduct it from what we're spending on these guys.
I certainly can. I'll say this: we've got about I don't remember if it's $250,000 or $275,000 in our maintenance line item for materials for road repair. $180,000 of that. We'll still spend that full $250,000, $275,000. So if we were to hire a contractor to come in, that $180,000 is going to have to come from
somewhere else.
Somewhere else, yeah, because we'll still use the majority of that. Now, not necessarily all of it, but because we will still have some potholes developed that we have to fill, but that would save us some out of that line.
So Tyler, we don't have any cost analysis of doing the same thing with our folks of what that would cost versus what you presented here.
No, I don't. I just received this information.
That's something I would like to see, but
That's what I'm asking too.
I'm very interested in what you're showing right now, even though we'd have to find the money. But man, this is just something that comes across my phone every day.
Every day. I think that's for all of us. I mean, that's our number one. It's potholes, potholes, potholes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, also, Tyler, in 2019, we discussed this similar situation. So yeah, I would like to receive whatever new data you have on this.
Yeah. Cost analysis and send it out to everyone.
I don't think we have
what area to do.
I'm sorry?
How would you determine as to what pothole to do? How would you make that determination?
Are you talking about if we decided not to do all of them?
If you decide to go with that person, because
We would do them all.
okay, because
I mean, it all depends on how much money y'all want to spend. And like I said, I'm only providing this information because I had a couple of you ask for it.
because the reason I'm saying when I go drive around, it's about 25 miles. I drive around my ward, and that's probably why you get 2 or 3 pages of potholes. Now, what I do and what Public Works do is probably totally 2 different things. So are those persons?
Yeah, we're not,
I want y'all to understand, we're not able to go out and drive around and look for potholes. We're just completely inundated with requests. We don't have time for that. We take complaints and we get after them. We're not able to go look for them.
Well, ain't they mostly gonna be the same,
Go right ahead.
they mostly gonna be the same area, because if you look at my list basically is the same list for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, we have the same areas pop up quite often. And, you know, I got your email with the 50 or 60 or so requests that were on there. And we received that the week after we were just in your award for 2 full weeks. Actually, it was more than 2 full weeks. So it's gonna take us a while to get back around that, but, whenever we get back to Ward 2, I'll give them that list, and that's exactly what they'll work off of.
I know when we did the street study, it was, the truck went along and it was road by road.
Yes, sir.
Would this company be something close to that where it goes, are they going to work strictly off of what's been turned in, or can they do a street by street, ward by ward?
Yes, they can certainly do a street by street.
I mean, if we're going to do it, we need to do it right, because the citizens deserve better than what we're given. I mean, that's just point blank. And if we don't, I mean, we can talk about businesses downtown, businesses anywhere. If they can't get down the road to get there, it's not going to help anything.
Right.
And some of these potholes are just pure evil.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of we've got to do this.
So on this Velocity Roads, how many contractors are there out there that specialize in pothole repair?
There's locally, none. Nobody locally specializes in that. You're not going to find a whole lot of those contractors around, but you'll have a few like Velocity Roads. They're all over the state of Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri. They're all over the place. So they go to a wide region, and this is what they specialize in. They'll get hired to help a city catch up on potholes. They go in, stay a few weeks, and then they move out onto the next city.
So in order to do this, we would have to do a request for proposal.
Yes.
Which have you started that yet?
No.
You put that out?
No.
That will not go out till Sunday in the paper?
I'll just say that again.
It goes out Sunday? Isn't that advertised in the paper?
That's up to y'all. If we, I'll discuss this with our city manager, but if we want to move in that route, yes, I will put out an RFP this week. So it would have to run 2 consecutive Sundays. We have to wait another week following that to actually bid it out. I think when you and I discussed last week, the quickest we could get this done would be in front of the board on our second June meeting, which was June 15th, something like that. But to go by our purchasing policy, that's the quickest we could get it done.
I'll tell you, have my support. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. Now,
I would like to do that as well.
Is there any type of emergency that we can make this faster? I mean, because this is an emergency.
Right, and I know the board, numerous directors have raised this, and I saw, I think Director Hollybush's post on Facebook, and you shared it, and so I proactively researched that. And this is not, the roads, potholes is not an emergency that would allow us to bypass the RFP procedure. And, you know, that's all in there for a reason and fairness and basically no. Not any way to get around that.
So the earliest the board could vote on this would be June 15th?
Whatever that second June meeting is, but yes, sir.
So this company.
June 19th.
to not meet.
We'll do them all, or just the number we gave to them?
20.
It depends on how much money we want to spend. And I'm estimating 180,000 to fill every pothole we have.
But they're not demanding all of them. I mean, they're not saying we got to do all of them. They'll do half of them or something like that, right?
Yeah, whatever we tell them to. I seriously doubt
Yeah,
that
they do
they
10.
would.
Yeah.
I seriously doubt that they would want to come in for just a day.
Right, sure.
It's going to have to be substantial enough to be worth their time.
I think that.
Tyron,
in
do you know
that-
what our fund balance is? I'm sorry.
I do not have that. I apologize. I do not have that number with me, but I will look at that and I will send you an email to let you know how many days of fund balance at 180 days.
You know
180,000.
approximately what day is worth in dollars?
60 grand, 3
I'm
days.
glad you remember those numbers.
That's 3 days of fund balance.
Yeah.
That's money well
Roughly.
spent. It's money well spent.
So Tyler, I would say in that RFP, you definitely want to put that they have to report metrics either daily or weekly to see progress of where they are. Because
Certainly.
that amount of money out of the general fund is going to be
Can we
crucial
put
to make sure that we're getting the money's worth. How did these I know this is separate, but how did these speed bumps come about up here? Did I miss that vote on the board? Did that come before the board?
No, it did not come before the board. So if you remember, since we've had a large amount of development downtown in the last 5 years, and with the introduction of the entertainment district, we've seen a large increase in pedestrian foot traffic down here. So we worked with the police department on possibly shutting down Broad Street. We started doing that on Friday and Saturday nights, I believe. With the parking issue that we already have and blowback from the businesses, we reevaluated that. Chief Cram set up a couple of community meetings with businesses downtown and residents downtown to discuss the issue that we were having. And out of those community meetings, we came out with speed bumps, and that was the consensus.
What was the cost, Tyler, of those? Because I'm trying to understand this. When I came down here today, I was pretty shocked because we have stop signs at every intersection. And I'm not necessarily not in favor of speed bumps, but I think it was tremendous overkill. Because I thought I was going to knock the front end of my car out driving down through there, just trying to get across them. But what did that cost us to do?
It was about $10,000. And the speed bumps are there exactly for that, to slow everyone down. They're meant to slow traffic down to 5 to 10 miles an hour. And what police was seeing down here during the evenings on the weekends were motorists speeding through these blocks like crazy. And even though you got a stop sign at every block, I mean, these folks are reaching a fast speed real quick. I've witnessed it myself. Had somebody, my wife and I was going to eat at Verona's one night, had someone fishtail around the corner, and I guarantee you they were up to 50 miles an hour before they reached that next stop sign.
I don't want to beat it to death, but I was just wanting to ask that question. I thought maybe I missed something.
This is something that Jay, our last city manager, was working on with our police department and I.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes,
Going back to
certainly.
the potholes?
Yes, sir.
So if we did the RFP, how quick could you do that? Tomorrow or?
So legal ads have to be turned in on the Thursday before it's advertised. So we could advertise May 21st, which is this coming Sunday, and May 28th. You have to wait a full week to bid after that. So the earliest we could bid is June 5th. And we have a board meeting that night, so we wouldn't be able to get it on that agenda. So we'd get it on the June 19th agenda.
If, like, let's say we get just one guy that bids on this thing, or you choose whichever one is going to be the most cost effective, could we call an emergency meeting? Because that is going to put us 2 weeks ahead if we schedule a meeting to get this thing done? Because that's.
That would be up to
halfway
y'all
through
and our
June,
city
we're already
manager.
behind. So would everybody be open to that, depending on what we come back with on this RFP?
I would.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll get with Tyrone. Any more questions before I move on?
Yeah, put in there that we start by ward numbers.
Yeah.
Tyler, just real quick, since we got you, in relation to the water on the street over in Savannah and Christie Circle, and that's not my ward, but I have that in my ward as well. Can we not take the street sweeper over there and make a couple of runs through that street and maybe keep the grime underneath it that those folks may slip and fall? Would that be something we could do?
Yeah, yes, we certainly can do that.
Okay.
That's no problem.
Good deal.
Anything else before I move on?
Also, Tyler, I'll be communicating with you about Savannah Circle to get some results like we did at Ruston Circle.
I've reviewed that several times before, so
Right.
I'm well versed out there.
Roger that.
All right. Okay, so environmental. For those of you that don't know, environmental is our cutting crew, our mowing crew, the folks that are out on tractors. We devoted every streets employee we had, which right now is 19 of them, to filling potholes for a month and a half. But I had to pull them away from there a few weeks ago, send them back to their normal crews because we're just getting too far behind on other stuff. So we started on cutting requests a few weeks ago. We operate similarly to potholes, we compile the complaints and go from ward to ward, spending about 2 weeks in each ward. We have a large focus on creeks. It's impossible to get all of our creeks cut with the crew that we have just one time within the year. We have tried it, and we just don't have enough employees to make that happen. So we do our best to concentrate on the areas that we have flooding problems. Nix Creek, Jones Creek, Rush Creek, and they've got my environmental crew. I've created a map for them with all of our creeks laid out. As they cut a section, they'll highlight that section and move on to the next one. Any questions on creeks or anything? Okay. So that's it for our maintenance side. I'll move into our capital outlay projects. So our 2022 street rehab project, that was Tennessee, Meadows, and Union. Contact Contractors did that. We completed it a few months ago. Or a couple months ago. Project came out great, I think. We do still have one remaining issue on Union. We've got a bad drainage problem that came up. We've got a section of a couple hundred feet where water's just holding in the ditch. And it's a low area, and there's no culvert under the road to get that water out, and it's been like that for years. So I'm working, in order to remedy that, we've got to install a culvert underneath the road. We have to obtain a drainage easement from a landowner because in that section it just sits in a small bowl. So we're going to have to run a few 100 foot of pipe to get under a hill and back to someone's pond. To get that water out of there, but I'm working with the landowner to get a drainage easement so we can look at getting that done. So our ARPA streets, we're in construction on the first set right now, which is Boyd, Stallion, Sanderson, and Jefferson. Francis Excavating is doing that project. They're moving really fast, and we're getting a great product from it. And they have been great and a joy to work with. They're waiting on pipe material right now, and they're going to be starting on Sanderson here within the next 2 weeks. And they're going to start on Jefferson after school is let out, so we're not dealing with the school traffic. We've got the second set of ARPA streets coming out. We bid it last week. That's Woodland, Rolling Ridge, and Dudley. Francis got that job as well. And not only are they moving really fast with a great product, but we came in well under budget on both of these projects. I think we came in 200,000 under on that first set and at least 100,000 on this second set. So we're doing really good with those. So you'll see that. We bid that out last week. You'll see that before you on June 5th for approval of those contracts. If you remember, we've got some money in those ARPA funds for Nix Creek as well. I believe it was about $475,000 or so. We've been holding off on that, hoping that we could get some ARPA money from the state with our application that we put into them, so that we could use that money as a match and get a lot more done. But the plan for that money is we've got to the end of 2024 to spend it. But the plan for that money is to continue on if you remember, we did an engineering study on Nix Creek in 2021. And they created a 5-year plan for us. We'll just continue on that plan with that money. County Avenue, that is our rehab project within the Public Works budget for 2023. It's in engineering right now over at A.L. Franks. We're hoping to bid that out in June or July. And that is from Arkansas Boulevard to Realtor. And if any of you have been down that, it is an absolute mess, especially down towards the end of Realtor. We've got a lot of base issues, a lot of drainage issues along there, but we'll get all of that fixed.
So Tyler, you're anticipating around third or fourth quarter for that start, the construction of that? Because
yes, sir.
I get tons of calls.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right there east of Walmart, there on County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I am hoping to get started by August.
Okay.
That's what I'm shooting for. I'll push that as quickly as I can.
Okay, great.
But we've got to get those plans wrapped up and out for bid. You know, that bid, just the bid process alone takes a month.
Right.
So they've got to get those plans completed. They're not done yet. And after they have plans completed, I review and approve them. We've got about a month to bid that out. And then we try to organize the bid date for just before an agenda deadline so we can get it to the board as quickly as possible. So the agenda deadlines are on Wednesday. We typically bid the project out on Tuesday just before that agenda deadline so we can get it right to y'all as soon as possible.
Well, I do appreciate that because I get a lot of calls about sway bars, rack and pinions. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Interstate lights, the only thing left that we've got for those, for all of those interstate lights to wrap them up completely and be done with that is fixing the 4 light high masts that are around the Jefferson Avenue overpass and the 4 States overpass. Each one of those 4 light high masts are hung up, so they've got a chain and pulley system in them where you hook a drill up at the base of the pole to lower those down. Every one of those are hung up at the top. So it is very difficult to find a contractor to work on those things. That's a specialty item, so not very many people do that. We were working with a contractor who gave us an estimate of $75,000. We have not been able to maintain contact with them. They were extremely slow getting back to us with everything. We reached out to the state to find another contractor that could help us out, and they sent us a name of Inline. A gentleman by the name of Woody Adams came out, met with Clay and I to look at our issues. He got back with me on Friday with an estimate of $128,000. So it's a little bit more than the last contractor, but we're going to sit down with him, maybe try to do some value engineering, see what we can make happen to get that number down closer to our budget.
I mean, Tyler, dadgum, we raised that twice. what was asked to originally fix those lights.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's taken so long to fix them. These have been hanging out there. I get calls on this still, on this, and this money just keeps going up and up. We've already raised it twice. I mean, how many more times are we gonna raise it to get this thing put to bed? I understand about the contractor, but
We do all that we can.
I know you are.
I mean, these lights, it's extremely difficult. You go out and determine one issue, you get that issue fixed, and through fixing that issue, you find another issue, and it's just a domino effect. And we had so many issues out there that, and they went unmaintained for so long that there were just so many issues out there. But after all of this, we've virtually replaced everything out there. We've upgraded all the lights. I've got our sign and signal department on a maintenance routine out there, so we won't have this issue anymore. But those things went unmaintained for so long that those problems just built up, and we had a large bill due to that.
Tyler, I've got when we discussed last time, Euclid Street, were we waiting on state funds for that to?
Yes, so we received a state aid grant for Euclid Street, and they bid that out. They only received one bid, and I want to say it was like $800,000, and the estimate was $375,000. So that happens a lot of times with these state contracts. That happened with our last state aid grant on Grimm and 19th Street. We had to bid that, the state bid that thing out 4 different times before they even got a single bidder. And then that bid was ridiculously high. They bid it out again, the same person bid on it again, and we got a much lower price within our budget. So there's only a select number of contractors that will do those state contracts, and if a project hangs out there for too long, I mean, they'll throw a big number at it, and a lot of times they don't want to come into these smaller cities and do these jobs, so that's what we're working with. But I've got a couple of contractors that I've talked to about bidding on it the next time it comes around that I think we can get a good price from. But I don't know when that next bid date is yet.
Gotcha, but it's going to be bid this year?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's my understanding. Now, we don't have control over that. That's all on the state. That is my understanding.
Gotcha, thank you.
So our chip seal operation, if you remember, that's been our solution for targeting some of these rural roads that we have a big problem with. These old county roads that we annexed in that are just crumbling to pieces. It's very difficult to justify throwing our normal budget money at those low-use roads, but at the same time, we still have residents that live on those roads, and we still need to fix them. So we did what we could to come up with a solution for addressing these roads. And the best we could come up with was a chip seal operation. We're going in, and you've seen us start some of it. We're going in, laying 6 inches of rock for a good base. We've done that on Freedom Trail, on South Valley, a couple of other roads. And you'll see tonight a water truck on the agenda and that is specifically for this chip seal operation. That's the last piece of equipment that we need to move on with that, so we can start chip sealing these roads here pretty quick with our own guys at a much lower cost. All right, so
let me ask one question about the chip sealing. How responsive are people to chip sealing versus asphalt?
A lot of people can't even tell the difference.
Okay.
If you know what you're looking at, you can, but some can't. But as long as you have a good base underneath that road, chip seal is perfectly fine. And that's what we're doing with the 6 inches of rock. We're going in and making sure we've got a rock hard base before we put any sort of surface on that. And that is 95% of the time, that's what you see on all rural roads across the country. That's all the county does is chip seal all of their roads. Now, if you don't have a good base, it is worthless, completely worthless. But as long as you've got a good base, it's perfectly fine. And it's a great solution. We don't have the means of going in and laying a 2-inch asphalt surface. We just don't have the equipment, the manpower, nor the experience to make that happen. It's extremely difficult expensive to lay asphalt. The chip seal operation is completely different. It's much easier process. We can do it with the equipment that we have for the most part. We just needed a couple items, and we've got that now. So I would not waste money doing something that I didn't think would work. And I hope that y'all know that about me.
We do, Tom.
And so I'm completely confident in this process.
Stephen, I'm Director Hollybush. Go out to South Valley. I've got some before and after pics out there. What they did is this side of a miracle. I mean, that whole area in Lakewood it's down to dirt almost. I mean, it's in bad shape. And what they're steadily doing out there is the folks are very appreciative, and they wouldn't care. I can tell you now if it was asphalt or chip seal, but most people don't know the difference, and the results are a fantastic drive compared to what they had. And it's much appreciated.
Thank you. My last one is Front Street Plaza, and I know I've run on for a long time here. I'm sorry, so I'm going to try to breeze through this real quick. The stage, I'm in the process of purchasing a curtain to go up on that stage to block that view of the back and hide everybody's equipment and everything. Lead time on that is 3 weeks. That's a custom order deal. We're outfitting that stage with slings and electrical to support any production crews that come in so that they've got everything they need to put on a production. American Sign and Banner is working on the advertising signs and the naming sign that goes across the top. And we've started backfilling that stage extension on the back. We've started that today. Here within the next couple of weeks, we'll pour the top on it and some ramps and stairs on that backside. The fence project, they're about 2 weeks out on that. We've got to custom order some gates to go across Front Street. That's going to be a much longer process, so we may have all this fence done before we have gates across Front Street, but it's not a whole lot that we can do about that. Once you get over a 16-foot gate, you go to a custom-made gate, and it takes much longer. So we're looking about 2 weeks out on that material, and then they'll get started. The bathrooms, y'all probably seen the bathrooms out there. Both of those pads are poured. One set of bathrooms is set. They're still working on the plumbing and electrical to one set. They've got one set installed, still working on the other.
You said one is set. You been over there and looked at those bathrooms? You're saying one of the bathrooms has been set on the concrete pad that's been poured, is that?
I believe that's right. I have not been down there.
I'd say go by there, because I drove by there and I went back by. And
Now I know that they set some. They may have removed them since then, but I know that they did set some to work it out.
For the amount of money we've spent on that project, somebody needs to make sure they're managing that, because that's a lot of money. And those prefab bathrooms, I'm sorry, I was not impressed.
That was a decision made a long time ago, but that was one of the complaints that the A&P Commission had, was that all these projects going on downtown, nobody knew what the left hand was doing. So last time I went before the A&P Commission, I told them that I would take over all of those projects happening downtown. I would organize them, and I would be the main point of contact for that.
Please, because Tyler, we get, I know you got a lot on your plate, but we gotta stay on top of that, because we're putting this money in down here, and, I just don't want us to throw money at something that is inadequate.
Of course, yeah, I understand. Now, we've purchased those bathrooms, there's nothing we can do about that now, but we're gonna do the best we can with what we've got.
Nick, did
Yes, sir.
anyone ask to put one permanent on that slab of concrete that you got versus what you paid for?
That was brought up. I was not involved in that decision on what we would purchase for these bathrooms, but I do know that a brick and mortar bathroom as an alternative was discussed. And what came out of that was the decision to go with the restrooms that we have.
That's what I thought we were building, was brick and mortar. I don't know when that changed.
That was funded through A&P Commission, so all of that went through them. So we expect the contractor, they've got until the middle of June, but we expect to be them done probably by the end of May. And we've already talked about the speed bumps, so I won't go there again.
Appreciate
but
all you do.
That's it. Y'all got any questions?
I got a question, but not directly that. Whoever the horn over there is Bramble, did y'all ever they gonna bring them back over there?
Sorry, say that again?
The sirens, did you remove the sirens?
Tornado?
Yes, tornado sirens over there at Bramble. What happened to those?
I don't know. That's the fire.
Yeah, that's under the fire department. And I'll check with Chief Fletcher on that. I know there were some changes with sirens due to overlap. So they took some out and moved them around to different places. But I can get with Chief Smith and Chief Fletcher on those sirens. You said at Bramlett Park?
Anything else?
If you could, Tyler, just take some pictures of the progress on those bathrooms, and if you would, come back and present it to the board to show us progress, if you could.
Okay, sure.
What about that fence?
About the fence?
Yeah, the fence out there. Should the gate have wheels or not wheels on it? The gate.
Should the gate have wheels?
That way you can slide it across instead of opening it.
Yes, that's one option that we're discussing. Originally, there were 16-foot gates in there, but we determined that wasn't possible. So, and this all just came up on Friday, so we've got to discuss on exactly what kind of gates that we want to order, but yes, that is an option.
When he said he was gonna talk to y'all about that,
Who?
The guy that's doing the fence. I talked to him today about that, and I just asked him, will be a whole lot easier to slide across there instead of somebody trying to open them all the time?
Yes, that's an option, a rolling gate that slides back on itself. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Tyler.
Sorry that took so long.
Moving right along to our consent agenda tonight, we have several items on our consent agenda. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes of the special call meeting on April 27th. Item number 5 is a resolution approving the reimbursement of $10,335.33 to the airport. Item number 6 is a resolution authorizing the acting city manager to enter into a contract with Artex Electric for the purchase and installation of pole and LED lights at Field 1 of Poindexter Sports Complex. Item number 7 is to adopt a resolution authorizing the acting city manager into a purchase agreement with Level & Sons for a 2,000-gallon water truck. Item number 8 is to adopt a resolution declaring public works equipment surplus and authorize disposal in accordance with Arkansas law. Item number 9 is to adopt a resolution authorizing the acting city manager into a construction contract with Jackie H. Drywall for the rehab of the City Hall restrooms. What would be the desire? Yes, Director Harris.
Could you take item number 8 off?
Item number 8 has been removed. What would be the board's desire on 4, 5, 6, and 9?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Item number 8, Director Harris.
It's not per se, what you finna take off is just the principle of that last year, which I was taking it off, maybe I had a question to ask the attorney. Last year that the fireman gave away a surplus fire truck to fire And I'm not saying that was wrong in them doing that. I don't know issue with that. But why did that issue then come before the board in terms of surplus versus what Tyler is doing?
I do not know that. That was last year,
Yeah,
2022?
Yeah, they gave away a surplus parking truck to the volunteer fire department. And I'm not saying, I probably would have said yes to it too, so I'm not disputing the giving it. I'm just saying, why come this board did not determine it to be in surplus prior to giving it away?
I don't know the answer to that sitting here right now.
Okay, Tyler, it really didn't have nothing to do with that. I just want to ask that question, that's all.
So item number 8 is to adopt a resolution declaring public works equipment surplus and authorizing disposal in accordance with Arkansas law. Any other questions? We'll have the city attorney read the resolution. No questions? We read the resolution.
Whereas 7 items of Public Works Department equipment and vehicles have reached their service life, and whereas these items should be declared surplus and disposed pursuant to Arkansas law, and whereas the acting city manager and staff recommend approval, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, that the equipment and vehicles listed below are hereby declared surplus and may be disposed of in accordance with Arkansas law. Unit 101, a 2002 120 John Deere track hoe. Unit 599, a 2000 120 John Deere track hoe. Unit M923, a 1986 Army dump truck 6x6, 8-yard. Unit M929, 1986 Army dump truck 6x6, 8-yard. Unit 520, 1995 Chevrolet pickup. Unit 116, Craftco chip seal. Unit 10, Rockford blower. Passed and approved this 15th day of May 2023.
City attorney's read the resolution. What would be the desire of the board?
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Jewell,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabash,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes, resolution passes. Moving right along to our regular agenda tonight, item number 10 is to adopt a resolution approving the airport authority to enter into an agreement with the Yates Foundation LLC to name the new terminal the Jimmy Yates Terminal. Paul?
Good evening. As we've been building the new terminal, I come to the board and let you know that we'd run into an issue. Much of the cost of the terminal building has been through federal grants. However, the parking lot out in front of the building cannot be funded with federal grants because it is revenue generating. With the increases of costs between 2019 and now, we had seen an increase to the cost of the parking lot, which was going to require us to find a $3 million shortfall. I'd approached both cities and said that we would go out and see about finding a group or individual who was willing to buy the naming rights for the new terminal building, so that way the two cities, communities would not have to bear that cost. As we went out, we wanted to find somebody who would have a great impact on both the cities of Texarkana, on both sides, as well as having a connection to the airport. And as you know, that is a small group of people to go from. I am honored to say that we worked with the Yates Foundation. For those of you who know Jim Earl Yates, you may know that he was the founder of the Easy Mart stores. Beyond that, he sat on the boards for Texarkana Regional Medical Center, the Perot Theater, the Easter Seals, and Temple Memorial Rehabilitation Center. But beyond that, he was also an avid aviator. He had a hangar out at the airport. He was a member of the airport's board, and he was also a member of the State of Arkansas's Division of Aeronautics Board. He's gave back to his community, and we are honored to be able to partner with them and then have a name of a local citizen who reflects, the great values of our cities. We would ask that the city consider this recommendation and allow us to move into that agreement.
Thank you.
Paul, I have a question. Was Mr. Yates Foundation, was he the only one that was taken in consideration?
We did approach the Yates family first. Because of the nature of this, we felt it was more appropriate to speak to individuals one-on-one. You have to understand this is a very large financial ask, and so we did approach the Yates family as the first one. We weren't trying to go out in a large bidding war, and although sometimes we think that there may be large corporations or something that would be lining up, there aren't going to be a ton in this area. We also didn't want to really bring in a name that may not have any connection to the community. And so we did handle this more in a personal manner. Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Paul? Yes.
I know you're doing it for 30 years, but how's that gonna work? It's a 30-year naming rights, so they pay what? And I think it's what? How much money is it?
It is a $3 million deal. Yes, $3 million to cover the loss.
So it's $1 million a year that they pay?
Yeah, so it's $1 million for essentially a 10-year block. What we're doing is at the end of that 30 years, we're giving them the first rights that the airport would approach back the family and allow them to enter into a future agreement with the family that is at the time. And if they should decline, then that would allow the two cities and the airport authority to seek another naming rights to provide future financial stability.
I think this is great. I do have one question. Are we the first to approve this, or has Texas already signed off on it?
Texas has already signed off on it. Their meetings tend to come before yours on the calendar.
Gotcha.
Now, the $3 million we paid for in 2 installments, right?
That is correct.
2024, it'll be paid for. You'll have $3 million, is that right?
That is correct.
I'm very thankful they've stepped up to do that. Thank you.
Any other comments? Sonia, would you like to say anything, or? For those that don't know, this is Sonia Yates Hubbard. This is Jim Yates' daughter that runs their foundation now, and welcome to our meeting tonight. And we're so appreciative to the foundation for coming forward with the airport terminal. It's going to be a great partnership.
Absolutely.
I think it worked out, the family, as we talked about it. It's just, my dad loved this community and the area and the people. We feel like he gave back, and he loved aviation equally. So doing something that can benefit both and bear his name, and we're really proud of it.
Absolutely.
We hope you consider the request.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, I would instruct the city attorney to read the resolution.
Whereas the Texarkana Airport Authority wishes to enter into an agreement with the Yates Foundation LLC for naming rights of the new airport terminal. And whereas the agreement proposes the new terminal be named the Jim E. Yates Terminal for a term of 30 years in exchange for $3 million payable to the Texarkana Airport Authority in 2 installments. And whereas the acting city manager and staff recommend approval, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, that the Airport Authority is authorized to enter into a contract with Yates Foundation LLC for the purposes and in the amount set forth above, passed and approved this 15th day of May 2023.
City attorney's read the resolution. What would be the desire of the board?
Motion. Second.
So a motion and a second to adopt. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Jewell,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes, and the resolution passes. Moving right along to item number 11, to adopt a resolution to accept the proposed redistricting ward map. Ms. Henderson.
Good afternoon, Mayor Brown, Board of Directors. Director Harris, I did want to answer your question about the surplus vehicles. Depending on the amount of the surplus equipment, it has different approval levels. And with that particular fire truck, the amount of the surplus, the city manager was able to approve that at that time. Moving on to the redistricting. After the 2020 census, a substantial change in the population of multiple wards required the board to redistrict the wards to make them equal as possible. A redistricting contract was signed by Data Scout LLC in January 2022. A workshop was held on August 25th, 2022 and February 6th, 2023, with additional requests made from directors. A workshop was held on May 1st, 2023, with Data Scout and a special projects manager on site with the consensus of the board and the maps as presented. Are there any questions?
Anyone have any questions?
I don't have a question like this. Go ahead. I just have to comment.
If we approve this tonight, when will it take effect? Is that immediately, or is there 30 days?
This is a resolution, so it should be immediate, correct?
It'll be immediate, but it really would not go into effect to the 2024 election.
Didn't Linda Crawford say it would be 90 days, 3 or 4 months to get all this inputted and updated in the system? But September was the deadline, so it has to be done by September.
It's not about 3 months.
Any other, Director Harris?
Oh, yes, I would just want to say that this, in my opinion, it could have been done a slight little more better. And what's that I'm basing it on as to what's the population of the majority minority that was in Ward 2 and 3 and what it went down to. It was averaging about 59%, if I'm not mistaken, but at most it went down to 53%. And that's what I'm saying. It could have went down a little lower, but also I noticed that Ward 2 gonna have about 6 housing projects in it now, and that's and I'm not making a big difference out of concern out of that. I know it's gonna be a concern because it may not be for me because I know it used to be Ferguson, High Point, and Union Village. And I know that during the process of which it was during the president election, I was really known to go knock on their doors and register people in those areas to vote. But now you add Pinehurst Village, Pinehurst Village, let's see what else? Carver Courts and Ozane Courts, and also Johnson Home. So that's gonna be a little bit more challenging for not only me and maybe the next person that comes here, but the way that the ward is done, I do like the idea. It's more square for its Ward 2. It's not going past 9th Street this time. It's not 18 blocks north of over there north of County Street, because for 10 years I could not represent the people at least 1 block in front of my house where we cross the railroad track. So Washington Street used to be the area where Ward 2 used to stop at north, but now it's going all the way up to 9th Street. And I guess that's in a little bit better, but I wasn't looking at this for myself. I'm looking at this for when the next person come through and replace me, and I think he or she may have a pretty good chance in the area where they was at, because hopefully College Hill would be probably the area where I can say maybe College, but also we go to 9th Street. But I know that area is really a depressed area, an underserved area, and I just hope that the next person that come behind me realize what area and the underserved people who he be working with, and I hope he or she would get out and does the knocking on the doors and try to register many people in that area and get them out to vote, and because I know they'll be disenfranchised, and they probably is, because and how to determine what person disenfranchised is you look at the past election. I normally get the data after each election and go and see as to where did the people go vote at, and see what people area didn't vote and what people did vote, and I see when you're getting 5, when you're gonna have 6 area underrepresented, disenfranchised people, that's really gonna be an uphill battle for not only me, but maybe the next person that come behind me. And that's basically probably what that's probably what I got to say on this, so, that's it.
Any other discussion? If not, we'd instruct the city attorney to read the resolution.
Whereas the redistricting of the city is necessary because of information received from the 2020 census, and whereas proposed redistricting maps were prepared by Data Scout LLC and multiple workshops were held before the board reached a consensus on the proposed redistricting map, and whereas the redistricting maps are based on the city's current 6-1 type of government, whereas the acting city manager and staff recommend approval, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, that the 6-1 type of government, 6 wards with an elected representative from each ward and 1 elected mayor at large continue in effect, and that the proposed 6-1 redistricting map is accepted and approved, passed and approved this 15th day of May, 2023.
City attorney read the resolution. What's the desire of the board?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
So have a motion and a second to adopt. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Jewell,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollibush,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes, the resolution passes. Our last item on our regular agenda tonight is item number 12, to adopt an ordinance authorizing the Board of Directors to amend Section 17-4 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances and provide for certain new fees for the rental and use of Front Street Plaza Parks. The Park and Recreation Director, Adam Dalby.
Good afternoon, Board. We're getting close to finishing Front Street Plaza. It doesn't look like it, but we're getting close, so we wanted to get our fees in place. We have for-profit rates and not-for-profit rates. It's $500 security deposit for both, $500 cleaning fee for both, and for-profit rate is $2,000 for all areas for all day, $1,200 for half a day, and if we're doing without the stage, it's $1,000 and $750. For nonprofits, it's $1,500 for all day, all areas, and $900 for half a day, all areas. Without the stage, it's $800 and $500. We came up with those numbers based off what it's going to take us to clean the area, maintain the area during the day. And that's about $1,500 a day with all 7 of my guys for 10 hours a day at an overtime rate. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for
Yes,
Adam?
I noticed that we used to have, and I think there was an agreement in it for 2 people, 1804 and cross ties.
Those agreements are still being worked on, possibly the next board meeting.
We should see those on the next board meeting.
But my question about those agreements is, if you average charging person, maybe I was looking at the thing, what you was charging people, was it what, $1,500 and something?
For for-profit rate, it's $2,500 for all day.
My question is, why is they gonna be, I know I should wait till it get before us, but why is they gonna get an 80% discount?
They won't get an 80% discount. It'll be a 20% discount.
Did I misread that somewhere? They were gonna get an 80 or 85% discount?
The original contract, that was an error in the original contract. It was supposed to read that they will pay 80% of the rental rate instead of an 80% discount. But there's 2 different contracts and they're both written a little bit different. One contract, the reason they're receiving that 20% discount is because they will offer a city a green room that will be available during events. So that's a direct trade-off for that green room. The other contract, there is no discount built in for the rental of those facilities.
So who's gonna be offering the green room?
The green room is going to be at Cross Ties because their building leads directly in, they have access leading directly into that facility and out of it. And they have a room available that we could use for those events.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mr. Dolly, your rates, when will the place be functional? When was your first activity?
We're looking at July.
Okay, you're asking for emergency clause on this, so why the emergency clause?
So that we can go ahead and put the rental rates in place so that we can start booking now for events in July.
So you're booking as of right now or next week?
As soon as we get the rates in place, we will start booking.
Any other questions?
How would this affect, like the parades and stuff that we do, or like when they do like a market event downtown in the parking lot?
We need to put together a list of community events, and it'll be a really reduced rate from that.
Okay.
Any other questions? I remind the board, this is an ordinance. To pass, it'd have to be read 3 times tonight. They're also asking for an emergency clause. What would be the desire of the board to have it read on its first reading?
First reading, abbreviated form.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to have it read on its first reading, abbreviated form. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Jewell,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
An ordinance amending Section 17-4 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to include new fees for use of Front Street Festival Plaza, for declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its first reading. What would be the desire to have it read on its second reading tonight?
Second reading, abbreviated form, please.
Second.
Motion and a second to have it read on its second reading. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll?
Jewell,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
An ordinance amending Section 17-4 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to include new fees for use of Front Street Festival Plaza, for declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its second reading. What would be the desire of the board to have it read on its third and final reading?
Third reading, abbreviated form.
Second.
So have a motion and a second to have it read on its third and final reading. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll?
Jewell,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
An ordinance amending Section 17-4 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to include new fees for use of Front Street Festival Plaza, for declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its third and final reading. What would be the desire of the board to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt. Any other discussion? Prior to the board voting to adopt, is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this particular ordinance? Hearing none, could you call the roll?
Jewell,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Yes.
Brown,
The ordinance is adopted. What would be the desire of the board to attach an emergency
Motion
clause?
to attach.
Second.
Just have a motion and a second to attach an emergency clause. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll?
Jewell,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes, an emergency clause is attached. We'll move into Board of Directors' commentary. Is there any board member that wishes to share anything with the board or public tonight?
Yes, I have some, Mayor.
All right.
I just want to communicate to the citizens of Savannah Circle that I will be contacting you so we can find some solutions for the issues that you're dealing with. That's all I have.
Anything else?
I want to say thank you to the Yates family.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Y'all employed my mom as a manager years ago on State Line and put food on our table. And I love Stacy.
That's a great plug.
Any other discussion? If not, we will excuse our guests. We are going to enter into an executive session to discuss the applicants for city manager.